My name is Mark Bird, and as Superintendent of Wilkes County Schools, I have the honor of welcoming you to the 8th Annual Wilkes County Hall of Fame Gala. I'm pretty excited by the fact that tonight is the first time we've been able to be together face-to-face for this event since May the 23rd of 2019. And if we haven't learned anything else over the past couple of years, well, we should never take for granted the significance of the opportunity to gather face-to-face. Since I mentioned that this is the 8th Annual Gala, let me remind you once more that every penny raised from each of these galas has been used to benefit the students of Wilkes County Schools. Well over $100,000 in grants have been returned to our schools by the Wilkes County Hall of Fame. As you're probably aware, the class of 2022 will be graduating next week, and many of our students and administrators are thinking of what words to use for the perfect graduation speech. The best advice I was ever given about writing a graduation speech was to be short and allow the audience time to see and hear from the people they really came to see. And so tonight, I'm going to follow that advice, and I'm going to get out of the way and let you see the people that you really came to see. I have the privilege of introducing one of those people, our Master of Ceremonies, and I consider it an honor to share the same microphone with him. I hope you will take time to read his biography in your program. And when you do, you'll read that he began his radio career at our own 3WC Radio while attending Wilkes Central High School. After a double major from the University of North Carolina, he later earned an MBA from UNC Greensboro while working for radio stations in Greensboro and Raleigh. In 1997, he began working in Tennessee, building the NFL Titans network from the ground up. And by 2003, their radio network was the largest in the NFL. He currently serves as president of Stonecom, which owns 8 radio stations which serve the Upper Cumberland region of Tennessee. Stonecom is known for their commitment to their local community and supporting kids, and you'll see very shortly where those core values came from. And I believe I read earlier that 2022 is his 36th year in radio. Even more impressive than that biography that I hope you'll read, more impressive and more enjoyable than reading the biography is meeting the man himself. So please join me in welcoming a gentleman who should feel right at home on a Hall of Fame stage, our own Mr. Larry Stone, Jr.
So let me hear you. Is it good to be back together? Absolutely. Who feels like they've aged about 12 years in the last 2 years? Heard a lady up front here say she's still only 30 years old, even though she's aged 12 years, so that's good. You know, tonight is a celebration of accomplishments. First, the things accomplished by our inductees. Again, a class that set goals, and then found the fight to achieve those goals. We celebrate the contributions that you make, because the money that you have given to be here tonight, it helps every teacher and every student in our school system achieve. The dollars you gifted helps this system overall accomplish the things that it needs to accomplish. Finally, and maybe most importantly, what we hope that you'll take from tonight is that tonight is a tangible example of the accomplishments of this county. The collective traits that make this such a unique place to live. A place to live, a place to grow up, a place to grow dreams. Let's face it, there are some that belittle our community, but we know, those who are here tonight, and so many others in our county, that it's through hard work, it's through family, it's through faith, humility, sacrifice for others, and that neighborly spirit that so many of these that we will induct tonight and so many that are in the Hall of Fame to my left, they represent those characteristics of Wilkes County. And that's an accomplishment that every one of us can be proud of. At this time, we'd like to recognize the class of 2020. They, of course, were not able to come on this stage and be recognized because of the COVID outbreak. We'd like to ask those inductees and family members who are here, if you'd please join me on the stage so that we can recognize you in some spirit or fashion. I know it's not quite the same, but again, you mean a lot to us, and we want to recognize your contributions. So as I call your name, those that are here, would you please come up and take a bow before our crowd tonight? The inductees of the class of 2020, the longest tenured coach at West Wilkes High School, a man who shaped the lives of so many in the western part of our county, David Beck. He grew a small company from just 5 employees to 45, outfitting thousands of athletes and building a legacy in so many other ways. Class of 2020 member James Cook. See a need, raise the money to meet it. That's all he did for our county, helping our community grow. Class of 2020 member Dennis Huggins. A combined 72 years educating students across Wilkes County, and so many so better for it. John and Etta Idle. For his contributions in helping Wilkes County motor along for many years, we welcome Andrew Kilby to the class of 2020. From their debut at Merle Fest to honors in so many countries around the world, spreading the traditional style of music, they are the Kruger Brothers. An artistic genius that brought so many Wilkes County treasures to life on canvas, Ward Nichols. A lifelong builder, she led Wilkes County-based Window World to national honors, Tammy Whitworth. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wilkes County Hall of Fame class of 2020. Would you please give them a round of applause? You don't put on an event like this with the hundreds of nominations that come in each year for the Wilkes County Hall of Fame without a talented group of people who give of their time. Tonight, we'd like to recognize the members of the Wilkes County Hall of Fame Board of Directors. As I call your name, if you would please stand, and we will applaud at the end. Board members include President Evan Handy, Vice President Tammy Love, again, stand where you are, Secretary Delana Jones, Treasurer Mark Elliott, board members Arnold Lakey, Bill Harris, Mark Bird, David Johnson, Dennis Huggins, Jody Call, Keith Miller, Kevin Sheets, Larry Stone, Morgan Mathis, Phil Stevens, Randall Parsons, Revis Feltz, Shayna Williams, and Stacy Neese. Would you please join me in a round of applause for the board members? We thank them for their work in making the Wilkes County Hall of Fame possible and the work that goes into this event and making it a special night. Also tonight, there are 3 board members who will be rotating off the board, and so we want to give special thanks to Delana Jones, Mark Elliott, and Evan Handy. So Evan and Tammy, if you'll come up to the front, and we have a presentation that we'd like to make to those board members who are rotating off the board. These board members really do a lot of the heavy lifting. Some people think that there's a staff of hundreds in the school system that put on these kind of events, and not only this event, but the event that happens in the fall, the Leadership Conference. But these board members do a lot of the work. They line up the sponsors to help raise more money, to give back to the students and teachers of the Wilkes County Schools. And so we want to thank, again, the three members who are rotating off the board, Delana Jones, Mark Elliott, and Evan Handy. At this time, if we could call Reverend Cheryl Welburn up to bless our food tonight and provide our invocation for tonight's event.
Thank you, Larry. Let us pray together. Eternal God, we thank you tonight for the privilege of being here in this place. We thank you for all the names that we have heard called tonight. We have known most of them, and they've all been a blessing to me through the years. They've encouraged me and they have helped me. And now, as they have come into this very special time in their lives and those that's gone on before us, the contribution that they made to this county and to this entire community, we thank you for them and for their lives and for what they have contributed to this county. God bless all that's here tonight. And we thank you for the food we're about to partake of, and we ask you to bless it to nourish our bodies and bless our fellowship together and just bless our country tonight and our leaders, that they'll look to God and do what's right and make right decisions. We ask blessings on Mark Bird and the entire school system here in Wilkes County. Thank you for what they're doing. Encourage them and strengthen them and bless them every day. Bless all the students and take care of them as they continue to learn. Guide us now and lead us by your Spirit. May we always honor the Lord Jesus Christ, because it's in your precious name that we pray. And amen. God bless you. God bless you.
Okay, so there should be a perk for being inducted. The most important perk comes right at the front of the meeting. You get to eat first. So we're going to eat by rows. So if the first row will stand up and make your way to the serving area, the first row, and then once that row has moved through, we'll go second, third, fourth, and like that. And then we'll get the program started here in just a few minutes. So don't be shy. First row, dinner is served. The story about this Hall of Fame as a way to show young people that you can achieve, that being from a small town, being from a small county does not define you. You define yourself. And there are so many names and faces in the showcase to our left and in the stories we will hear tonight that showcase that. Through this event, through the fall leadership breakfast that we hold with high school students from across the county each September, the hope is that they see something in one of these Hall of Famers that they can attach to and say, I can achieve that. That's the purpose of the Wilkes County Hall of Fame. The second purpose is to raise money, quite simply, to give students and teachers opportunities that they might not otherwise have. We understand the funding challenges of public education. And so the Hall of Fame gives teachers the chance to dream dreams about how they can best educate students. Just this past February, more than $16,000 in grant money handed out to teachers in the Wilkes County schools. And here are a couple of examples.
I applied for a grant called Good Glazes, and I really wanted to give my students the opportunity to have some really beautiful glazes when they're working on pottery. My 6th graders make pinch pots, 7th graders do African masks, and my 8th graders make these lovely little platters. And I wanted to give them the opportunity to have professional looking glazes to be successful at their pottery work. This is the first time I've applied for the Hall of Fame grant. It was a wonderful opportunity, and it's a really simple process, and they're very supportive of your programs, and they really are looking for creative ways to invest in our art programs. I look forward to applying in the future for many different aspects of my classroom.
We really love being able to do things above and beyond in music class. We wrote a grant to get these keyboards here for the student. By using these keyboards, they're able to use these skills to learn to read our music notes. That's a big important thing to do in 3rd grade. And to also reinforce melodic concepts that we learn and to reinforce harmonic concepts. And we can do both. And I was hoping that by getting this grant and learning these skills, that when kids compose stuff online later with other programs, they can use these skills to transfer and compose their own music. Music isn't just about just studying it, it's about doing it. And if we don't have the instruments to do it with, it's not very relevant. So the opportunity to play on instruments and know how it all works together is very much appreciated, and we thank you very much for that opportunity.
Number one, I just want to thank, the Hall of Fame and what those guys do. Especially going through COVID, it would be near impossible for us to survive. A lot of times I think people think of the Hall of Fame grants and think of these big grants for super huge things, and we've done ours for a couple years for basketballs. And I don't think a lot of people are aware the NCHSA requires certain type of balls for all of our sports. And they changed to a new basketball this past year, and allowing us to be able to purchase something as small or something that seems as small as basketballs. I would say 75% of our athletic teams have benefited from the Hall of Fame grant program. And I'll keep saying it, without these grants, we would not have been able to provide over the past couple of years the items, the tools that our athletes need to succeed.
Just 3 ways that the money you have donated by being here tonight helps the students of Wilkes County through arts, through music, through physical education, and through athletics. We heard the number earlier, but it bears repeating. $126,000 have gone to the Wilkes County schools over the 8 years of this event. So please give yourself a round of applause for supporting the educational mission of our school system. Please continue to do that. On your table, you'll find a donation card. You'll also find a QR code on that card that gives you the chance to immediately, right now, just because dinner was good, to make a donation and help out the Wilkes County Hall of Fame and its efforts in grants. So I hope you'll take advantage of that during the course of our evening tonight. Now it is time to really focus on the outstanding people that we are here to honor tonight, the class of 2022 of the Wilkes County Hall of Fame. And we're so excited to have them here with us tonight. The first member of our Hall of Fame that we want to recognize tonight really is someone that has meant so much to so many people for so long. Every child has a story, their own strengths and needs, and we get to plant the seeds of love that will hopefully change the trajectory of their lives. Those are the words of Gene Davis in describing the work of the Ebenezer Christian Children's Home. Started in 1994, the project serves as a way for kids to find their place in what can be a very unsettled and scary start to their lives. Gene Davis planted the seeds for hundreds of young people, leading, raising money, convincing, building, whatever it took.
Jean is honestly one of the most genuine people you could ever hope to meet. She is just a little firecracker. She's short in stature and big in personality. She's the best storyteller I've ever heard, and I think that's one of the reasons why children are so drawn to her.
Well, Jean is a very caring person. She loves children, and she has a way of connecting with people. And she just one of the most friendliest people that I've ever seen, and she can just touch the hearts of the people around her, and that's why she has been such a successful director for us at Ebenezer, because she just has a way of connecting with people.
I know a lot of people that do a lot of great ministry, pastors included, and I don't know if I know anybody more dedicated to what God has called them to do. And of course, that's to take care of the children in our community that don't have anyone else to take care of them. When you get around her, she's always talking about what she's going to do next. She's always talking about the next project, the next way that they're going to build another children's home. And there aren't many people that are willing to spend their time and their talents for kids that can't necessarily pay her back. She does it because that's what God's called her to do. Jean is directly involved in the lives of each of those kids. I've noticed that. I've seen it with my own eyes. You know, that she is personally invested in them. And she loves all of them like they're hers. I don't know how in the world she does it. It's got to be the power of the Holy Spirit in her life, that she's just able to love those kids like she was their mom.
She has served 935 children in residential care or in foster homes that we license. She's always done it for the right reasons, and so I think it's just one more way that she can show the children that making good choices and service to others does pay off. And I'm really thankful that the citizens of Wilkes County recognize her efforts, because it has been a thankless job in a lot of ways, and I've seen her put in hours that I would never ask another person to do, all just in service of children. If there's a need, she's there.
I think that's why she came on board with us, because she knew the need was here in Wilkes County for a place for our children, that they could find refuge, could find someone who loved them and someone who would care for them. She still hangs in and works, and she's been through sickness, and she's fought through those sicknesses and come back, and I don't think she's going to give it up till the Lord tells her to.
Gene Davis tells the story that one night the house parent at the home found just 3 potatoes in the pantry. A total of 5 children were waiting for supper. The staff members prayed. They thanked God for the chance to work at the home. They prayed He would send what the kids needed. That evening, 3 people felt the need to bring potatoes for the children. Faith embodied in the work of Gene Davis, the newest member of the Wilkes Hall of Fame.
I think Mr. Larry's just kind of said it all, so I don't need to say anything. So I am very honored and very humbled to be here tonight, sharing this night with so many deserving people that will come after me. I want to personally thank Diane Swain for her belief in the mission of Ebenezer, and for me and for working so hard to do the nomination. And by the way, if you see Diane tonight, it's her birthday. So happy birthday, Diane. There's so many people to thank that has made Ebenezer possible. I've just been the one that's been blessed to get the hugs from the kids every day. But I want to thank all of our board members, past and present, that has made it possible and has stood behind me, especially to our chairman, Ken Perdue, that begged me in 1993 to help, and I kept saying, no, I'm not qualified to do that. And I know that I wasn't, but God told me I was. And I thank Him for the journey of 28 years and for the around 1,000 children that has come through the doors of Ebenezer. I'm forever grateful for that. I thank my family, especially my husband Andy, that has stood behind me and wore so many hats at Ebenezer to get what needed to be done. My daughter Amanda had just finished 12 years ago her master's degree And without that, I would not have been able to start for foster care and adoptions. And over the thousands of children that's come through Ebenezer, we've had 100 of those that's been adopted because of her being able to start that. And for that, I'm ever grateful. For all the staff members that has been behind us and has loved our children and has had the honor of telling them every night before they go to bed, Jesus loves you. And foster care does not define who you are. I'm forever thankful for those staff members, for the children that are told you can do all things through Jesus Christ that strengthens you, for the children that we've had that's went on to college and got their degrees. Actually, the lady that is taking the pictures tonight, one of my kids actually owns that company. For the other children that's been successful and has shared with their own children, you can be somebody special too. And as Larry had said many times about dreams, one of my kids one day said, Ebenezer is the safest places I've ever lived. At Ebenezer, I found out it's a safe place that you can laugh, play, and dream. And we want to continue helping children's dreams come true at Ebenezer Children's Home. But the one that deserves this award tonight is those children that have come to us night after night with only the clothes on their back. For the baby that when we changed her diaper, roaches actually crawled out of her diaper. For the 3 little boys that would have given anything for the meal that we had tonight, that only had ketchup and bread to eat for 3 days. For the children that come to us and wants to know and says, I actually have a clean bed tonight to sleep in. Will there really be food in the morning for me? For the little girl that is now a teenager that came and spoke at Ebenezer this year, she was 4 years old when she came to us. A police officer found her pushing her baby sister in a baby doll stroller and holding the 2-year-old sister that she had by the hand as she was walking down the road on a very cold, snowy day to find food for her siblings. We give children an opportunity at Ebenezer. You're not the mama. You're not the daddy. At Ebenezer, let us do those things for you so you can be the sister or brother to your younger siblings. I am so thankful for all of this and for Wilkes County that wrapped their arms around us from the very beginning. And so many faces that I see here tonight that has supported us all these 28 years and continues to support us, I thank you for that. But most of all, I can't close without saying, to God be the glory for the great things that He's done and the people that He's used to love on these children. Thank you for all that you've done for us, and may God bless you. Thank you.
The shape of North Wilkesboro during the 1900s has a lot to do with the work of James Richard Hicks. His early work included tenures at Absher Hardware, F.D. Forrester, C.C. Smoot & Sons, and later Vaughn Hemphill Wholesale. But it was his leadership at the Bank of North Wilkesboro that began his real investment in the future of the town. An organizer of the Hotel Wilkes, an organizer of the American Furniture Company, a founder of the Wilkes Hospital. James Richard Hicks helped stimulate the little town across the railroad tracks.
We always called him Uncle Jimmy. He was the head of the family. He was the oldest child, and they looked to him for advice. And
we had such wonderful holidays together, big family celebrations and birthdays. He was always there. I mean, as busy as he was always there for family.
You know, he was always so gentle and humble and calm. He just really cared about people.
The little things he did for all those people who needed jobs and everything. He was a very humane person. He was quiet about it, but he knew how to get things done.
They lost their home back during the 1916 flood. I don't know where they stayed, but he was out buying food for other people that had lost their homes.
I remember he was very proud of the hospital and getting it on its feet. But he had so many projects in his life. He had his finger in many, many of the important places in North Wilkesboro.
It amazes me how much one man can accomplish. I mean, he was chairman of the board of the bank until his death. American Drew, secretary until his death. He just had a lot of irons in the fire. He
was very proud of Wilkes and what he did and his family and relatives, and he just was a very successful but very humble person.
Amazingly, with his commitment to family and his work in business, James Richard Hicks also found the time to serve on the North Wilkesboro Town Board and the Board of Education. We welcome James Richard Hicks for his commitment to North Wilkesboro to the Wilkes County Hall of Fame.
Goodness, that June tore me up. All the good that she's done. Our family is honored that J.R. Hicks is inducted into the Wilkes County Hall of Fame. Thanks to cousins Kendall Marlowe Forrester and Lana John Hicks Revis Smith for your dedication to this process. For all of his accomplishments, he never bragged and was very humble. Our family thanks the Wilkes Hall of Fame for this honor.
A Greensboro sports writer said of Flossie Johnson, "She was the sweetest woman you'd ever want to meet. Yet she was as tough as the land she came from." Longtime NASCAR crew chief Jeff Hammond said, "I thought of her as sweet, but also rough as a corn cob if you crossed her." Such is the legacy of Flossie Johnson, the first lady of NASCAR. She wanted to be a nurse, but ended up directing calls for the telephone company. That was around the time that she met Junior Johnson, who would sit behind her at the movie theater and mess with her hair.
Flossie was a good representative. That was one of the bright lights of Wilkes County.
She was very proud of being born and raised in Wilkes on a family farm. She was proud of her roots. Wherever she went, all over the United States, she would always talk about, her home and how proud she was of it.
People that met her and saw her that, if that's the kind of people they got there, that's a good place to live. That's a good place to visit or to come and do business with.
Anybody who met her, she had an impact on. She was just that kind of person. She was kind and good, and she left an impression on everyone she met.
And I truly believe that of all the headline race car drivers, Flossie's the one that sealed those deals. Flossie's the one that got Darrell Waltrip here. Flossie's the one that got Bill Elliott here. Flossie got Cale Yarborough here. Those championship caliber drivers, because I know when they negotiated and talked, they didn't do it at a restaurant. They did it at Flossie's table. I think that made them feel like they were part of the family. I can remember going with her to the races and would ride with her over there, and then when we got inside the track, she would open the trunk and every crew came over there to get something to eat. And she was really proud of that, and people regarded her cooking, and she put on the feed bag. She laid it out there. I mean, it was always good country cooking. And I think that was the glue that held that team together. Junior may have known a lot about cars, but Flossie knew a lot about human nature. And she knew about people, and she knew how to be warm and welcoming and inviting to be a part of that organization. And I think during the hard times and difficult times they had, Flossie was what put that team on the map and made it work, because she was like the heartbeat of it. Everybody else sure played a part, but she made it more like a family business. And that's the thing that I remember even from when I was little and going with her to the racetrack, is that it was like a family. The Pettys came over, the Allisons came over, all of the guys that drove the cars and worked on the cars. When we went to the racetrack and she opened that trunk, everybody was family. And they were all standing around or sitting around eating, and Flossie made sure she had that taken care of. And she shared her life and her heart and everything that she had with them. She had a heart of gold, and she didn't mind giving it away. But at the same time, she never backed up. She kept doing it. She kept giving of herself to make sure that other people were comfortable, or other people were pleased, or had an opportunity. And that's just the kind of life that she lived.
Flossie Johnson's love of cooking, she said she learned it from her mother, led to a second career, writing cookbooks for charity. Flossie Johnson sold thousands of cookbooks raising money. She said her greatest joy in life was the people she met and the friends she made. A woman who truly loved Wilkes County has earned her a spot in the Wilkes County Hall of Fame. We welcome Flossie Johnson.
On behalf of Flossie's family that's here tonight, and those that couldn't be here, we're truly humbled and grateful for this award. It's a big honor. Flossie would be thrilled with this. And even though she was a humble person, she was also a very proud person. She was proud of her family. She was proud of the country that she lived in, and she was proud of this county. And everywhere she went, she bragged about it, and she was a good representative for this county. Sometimes words is beyond. For any of you that didn't know Flossie, let me give you an example. She was the same every day, everywhere. Back when I was in college, I was coming home for the weekend, and I had a friend with me, and he was going to spend the weekend with us here in Wilkes County, and he knew about Flossie, and I said, hey, look, her car's sitting over there at that store. I said, we'll stop in there and get us a drink, and I'll probably get to see Flossie, because she got her hair fixed in a little beauty shop there beside it. And sure enough, when I stopped the car and got out, here she come out the door and saw me. And we talked for a few minutes and everything, and then she said, we got ready to go, and she said, all right, y'all be sweet boys. Now, that wasn't exactly anything that went away real quick when I went back to college, because that friend made sure everybody knew that I was a sweet boy. But that's the kind of love that she gave all the time. And regardless of whether that I was 8 or 58, I was one of her boys. And I don't hope it don't hurt the family's feelings or anything, girls, but I was the favorite. But she loved me, and she loved everybody. Flossie not having any children of her own, but she had a bunch of young'uns. I mean, she was good to everybody and wanted to make sure that they were welcome and felt like they were loved, and she made sure that you were always welcome around her place. Thank you to the board members for giving us this honor that we will cherish in Flossie's name. And I particularly want to thank Charles Williams, who started this, and Bill Harris, who kept after me to keep getting some stuff together. Thank you all. Thank you, board members, nominating committee, everybody that had a hand in it. Thank you very much.
Growing up in the 1940s, Tom McNeil had a fascination with cars, so it was no surprise that his life centered around the automobile. As a teenager, he would walk or hitch a ride to work at a local tire business. That led fairly quickly to his opening his own business. As much as he was known for Tom McNeil Tire, however, he was equally known for his love of the Corvette. From the first purchase, McNeil built one of the Southeast's top Corvette collections, but it was his spirit that will be most remembered by those around the county.
Tom was a self-made man. He come from a family of 9 kids, and he worked hard. Matter of fact, when he first started out, he walked about a mile out to the main road to catch him a ride to work every morning. He didn't have a car, and he did well for himself. He was most proud of helping others.
I watched him mark off in the accounts payable book people that had got sick or couldn't pay for the tires or tried to pay for the tires, and they would come in and he would just say, "Your tire's been taken care of," and they would ask who, and he'd just say he had taken care of it, but he doesn't want any credit for it. Tom was your friend. He was your friend before he was your boss.
He was a wonderful man who displayed character and compassion. He was humble and kind and giving. And even though he was a simple man, his goodness had a positive impact on people he met. A man like Tom was easy to notice, but hard to forget. His reputation in Wilkes County and beyond became legendary. His life enriched so many people. You weren't around him long before you knew that Tom McNeil was made of the right stuff. Tom was very smart, skilled, and accomplished. His expertise made him a guru on classic cars, especially old Corvettes.
Tom bought his first Corvette, $750, back when he was I think he was like 18, 19 years old. And he just fell in love with them, and over the years he just kept building up, and he just loved those cars, restored them, bought them, sold them.
Like I said, he always wanted to help people. It wasn't really about the tires or the cars. He was more of helping people along. He
really took a lot of pride in helping the youth of Wilkes County, and people that, if they were down on their luck, and he run a tire shop, and didn't have the money to get a set of tires, he'd put them a set of tires on anyway. It's just the kind of person he was.
The way he lived his life and the way he treated others is reason enough for him to be honored and remembered. Wilkes County is wise to never forget one of its best citizens. To his sweet wife Barbara and to his family and friends, congratulations. Tom deserves this recognition. I hope tonight means as much to you as I know it would have meant to him. And thank you, Wilkes County Hall of Fame, for choosing him, and may God bless the memory of Tom McNeil.
His friends said that Tom McNeil looked for originality in the Corvettes that he purchased, something that set them apart. His warmth, his humility, his smile certainly made him unique. We welcome Tom McNeil into the Wilkes County Hall of Fame.
You want to hold this too?
Sure.
No, I'm teasing. Scared him off, didn't I? Good evening, everyone. I just want to thank the board members, the community, and each and every one. Oh, dear.
There you go. It won't bite, I promise.
That had a part in recognizing Tom for this awesome award. I just wish Tom was here to accept it. Tom was a kind-hearted, hard-working, wonderful man that loved God and his family and everyone he met. He was a very giving man, and he gave to everyone that needed it. And some he just gave. Few knew of the deeds that he did, and that's the way it should be. We're not supposed to boast when we give to others, and that's what we're here for, is to help each other. Many people come to the shop daily, giving inspiring words of the words or the deeds that Tom did for them, or their family, or their neighbor that they heard about. Tom was a very unique man who loved the Lord, life, and people. And it was apparent in his everyday life. He was a blessing to all that knew him. And for the ones that didn't, they missed out on a blessing. So thank you all again, each and every one, and may God bless you all.
His love of the car business began at the age of 9. Well, maybe love is a bit of a stretch, because David McNeil's first role was sweeping floors and washing cars. But his father wanted him to know the business from the ground up. After college, David McNeil came back to Wilkes County and entered the sales end of the business. Then at the age of 26, he ventured on his own, purchasing Northwest Toyota, becoming one of the youngest dealers in the United States.
David is just a dynamic individual. He is a very disciplined businessman, a very successful businessman, and a very down-to-earth person. I think a lot of his success can be contributed to the fact that he grew up in a small town. This community is a small town. David has had the advantage here of knowing a lot of people in the town, and he treated everybody in his business as family, and he treated all his customers as family.
And even though he has outstanding people that work for him, in fact, when I say work for him, we don't exactly mean that to the McNeils. We talk about working with people. You know, he doesn't work for me, he works with me. That's where the McNeil family comes from. Everybody that is, once you meet a McNeil, we're family. But, you know, we'll claim you whether you claim us or not.
As he's disciplined in his business, he's also disciplined in his giving back to the community. And he considers them family. He considers the community family.
Well, the thing about David is he's a guy who supports his community. He's a guy who believes that a rising tide raises all boats. He believes that if the community is doing well, he's going to do well, his family's going to do well. He's a guy that's a big picture guy who sees that the community has to thrive for all of us to thrive.
He grew up here. He has, you know, he founded a bank here, which was, it was Great State Bank. Now it's been sold to Skyline, but David's one of the co-founders of the Great State Bank. He's been embedded in this community his whole life, and I think this community means everything to him.
I think David's one of those guys who's a pillar in the community. I mean, he's one of the first ones to participate in any project that involves first responders. He's one of the first ones to participate in any project that involves education. He does a lot with the Teacher of the Year in Wilkes County. So he's the type of guy who believes that it's his role and it's his job to give back to the community.
Well, I could add so much that he's won so many awards. He has not been credited for, and that's not time to bring those up. He deserves them all, and I'm so proud of what he's accomplished. And whatever he does for the benefit of Wilkes County.
David McNeil credits his father and grandfather for being role models in how to treat people. He says he works to showcase his life through his team. Quote, "There is no better feeling than thinking that you helped someone succeed in life." David McNeil can now inspire the students of our school system going forward as the newest member of the Wilkes County Hall of Fame.
I want to really just thank everyone. I didn't want to hear that. This is really, really special for us, my family. And I told them to put me in the back room, and I was too stubborn to go back there, so that's what I should have done. But anyway, be able to share this with my dad. Most of y'all, he passed away about 2 weeks after this video. So, it's pretty heartwarming. And, it's a real treasure because there's actually another probably 10 minutes of interview that Adam did. He did a great job, and I appreciate all the nice things everybody said. Sometimes you just can't believe that that's really you, that you've achieved what you have, but, the board, thank you so much for this. Before I forget, I want to congratulate all the other recipients that are inductees tonight. It's really, you're a true Wilkes County guy when you know everybody that's being inducted here. I mean, I've got a connection to all of you somewhere, some way, shape, form. I even ate at Flossie's one time, one of the best breakfasts I've ever had. So anyway, but thank you. I do want to just take a minute to talk about my career because I think it's a little bit interesting how I end up where I'm at. And there's 3 or 4 things just define my career, I think. And the very first thing, and when I talk about family, I get a little emotional. But anyway, the very first thing I ever did, the smartest thing I ever did, was marry my childhood sweetheart, Connie. Let's see, in 2 days, it's going to be 40-some years. Don't test me if it's 41, 42, 43, because I'm not too sure. But anyway, somewhere between 40 and 45. But we've had a great life together, and we've actually been a team. And she supported me in so many things and guided me. But in reality, I've always felt like Connie's strengths are my weaknesses, vice versa. My strengths are her weaknesses. So we've been a really good team together because we're totally opposites personality-wise. So I'm the quiet guy. She's the one that likes to talk all the time. So, but the second thing in my career is really hard work. And nobody will ever be able to deny that I haven't worked hard, because I have. I've worked hard. I've been dedicated to my family, been dedicated to my community and my business all. The third piece of my career is just luck. There are people out there that are much smarter than I am, that have worked harder than or as hard as I've worked, and they fail. Well, you take a 26-year-old kid and he finds a way to buy a Toyota dealership. Now, you got to date yourself back to about 1983. All right, 1983, Toyota was just another franchise. And, I didn't really know what I was getting. But anyway, it became the franchise. And so I worked that as hard as I could for about 20 years and had great success. Decided I wanted to do something else. I know that might sound crazy to some people, particularly when you end up back in the car business again. But anyway, so I sold the store. I played golf. Matter of fact, I played with Hickso probably 3 times a week for about 6 months. And he always told me, he says, if you go back to work, you're nuts. Well, I'm nuts because I like to work. But anyway, I was just kind of searching, figuring out what I wanted to do, and 2 Kia franchises in Greensboro and High Point became available. And at that point, this is 2003 to give you a date, Kia was just another throwaway car. And, but anyway, I can remember coming home and telling Connie, I said, Connie, and I had some good friends that helped me talk me into this, and some of them are here, but anyway, I remember coming home and telling Connie that I'm going to buy a Kia franchise, and she said, you've lost your mind. And I wasn't sure if I had or hadn't, but anyway, we bought them, and there again, lo and behold, Kia, then Hyundai followed, and I mean, they're top-notch franchises. And I could have bought anything, invested in anything, it's just luck. So, but along that, we did work hard. But without luck, I don't think you're going to have much success. So the last thing that I will say, I have been very fortunate to have people around me that have believed in my philosophy, bought into the fact that it's not that long-term is the goal. Don't think short-term. So many businesses open up and they got to think, I got to make it today. I got to make it today. Well, that's not a success story. The success is to be patient, let things happen, and over time it will grow and it'll work. But if you don't allow that patience, you'll fail. So I do think that's the key to my success. So thank you. I really appreciate the honor. And once again, I want to thank congratulate all the other inductees. Thank you.
You can really understand Sylvia Robinson's approach to education in the way she grew up. She once said that people are comfortable and achieve when and where they feel loved. She credits the church family at Rickards Chapel Church and the community of Cairo for giving her that love and that desire to achieve. She honestly planned to achieve elsewhere, but Wilkes County called her back, and she began a 30-plus year career teaching and coaching students, teaching them about the nation they called home and what it meant to be part of a democracy.
Sylvia was a pure professional. She was intense with the information, the subject area that she taught. She loved the Constitution and U.S. government, and she was able to transfer that to her students in a very effective way.
Wilkes County meant a lot to Sylvia Robinson. Growing up during Jim Crow and segregation, that was hard, but she didn't let that impede her drive in life and what she wanted to do. She was in the first integrated class at Wilkes Central when she had the opportunity to stay at Lincoln Heights. She was a trailblazer and wanted to move on and be in that inaugural group to integrate Wilkes Central. When Sylvia went off to North Carolina Central, see another part of the world, but still coming back to Wilkes County. And I think that courage is what led her to make the decision to move on to Wilkes Central.
She was caring, but she always wanted the best for all of her students and athletes, and we definitely felt the desire to impress her and be our best when we were around Coach.
She was interested in the person and wanted to build integrity into each one of her players and students. Deneen Graham, the first Black Miss North Carolina, was a former student of Sylvia's. Zach Galifianakis, another former student of Sylvia's. Even on her obituary page, Zach wrote about being taken into the hallway a few times, but the respect that he learned from Sylvia was immeasurable.
I can't even begin to recite all the committees and boards that she served on. She was very gracious with her time, and she was intent on making this place better, not only through teaching, but just through her service to Wilkes County. She gave as much as she got from Wilkes County.
You know, she was a busybody, and her students and her coworkers and her friends and her church, those were her family. So it would be not Coach Robinson-like at all to just kind of sit back and rest on her laurels. There are probably thousands of students that can look back and think about not only the academic things they learned in her class, especially in this crazy world we live in now, but also the life lessons that she taught us and the experiences we had with her, whether on the field or the court or in practice.
Wilkes County made Sylvia, and she made Wilkes County a better place. If young people in Wilkes County want a hero, someone to emulate, someone to be like, it's Sylvia Robinson. She was my hero.
Sylvia Robinson was named Wilkes Central's Millennium Teacher of the Year, a Great State Hero Award winner, a Woman of Wilkes Award winner. But perhaps the greatest honor came from a former student who said, Coach Robinson brightened the lights of her students. We welcome Sylvia Robinson to the Wilkes County Hall of Fame.
I was on standby for my father, and now I'm wondering who's going to be on standby for me. That was a beautiful tribute. My aunt, after college, she had plans to run down to the big city of Atlanta with her classmates, and her mom, my grandmother, said, please just come home for 1 year. And she did. And I'm thankful that God's plans are not our own. Because she continued to serve this community, her church, her sorority, and like she was the busiest. My dad, he said it all the time, your aunt is the busiest retired person I know. Because she was a busybody. She loved to do it. And I teased her all the time that she was a name dropper. Because she would say, oh yeah, my radiologist technician, that was my student. The nurse practitioner, yeah, that I know them. I taught them. You seen Zach's movie? Zach Galifianakis? Yeah, my student. Yeah. So, but within that was just her love and how proud she was of her students that became friends, her coworkers that became friends. She was so proud, and to see you all do well. She really loved that. We buried her in the summer of 2020. COVID restrictions only allowed us to have a small 50-person. So the fact that we're able to do this, thank you to the board. We appreciate this. And I know she's being inducted into the Hall of Fame, but she's always been famous to us in our family. She's always been. And so we just thank you, and I know that she is smiling, and I know she is so proud, and that's just a piece of her over there in that case. And if you didn't have the chance to know her, just know that she was one of the most beautiful people that I've ever known. Thank you.
The Stricklands had a plaque in the kitchen that read, "Destiny is not a matter of chance, it is choice." It's not a thing to be hoped for, but a thing to be achieved. For Robert and Betty Strickland, their destiny was choosing to be on the ground floor of what would become one of the world's largest retailers. Robert Strickland was the 7th employee of Lowe's, choosing to be a part of the legislature as the future of Wilkes County higher education would be written, a destiny of working to improve the lives of Wilkes County young people.
Hello, I'm Bob Strickland. As most of you know, or should know, Lowe's is one of the world's premier growth companies. This in itself, growth, expansion, marketing in the 70s means change. And Lowe's is changing.
He had an air about him that was just classy as could be. And, his hair was a little longer than some of the others. He wore starched shirts, with cuffs and cufflinks. And he had embroidered initials on his cuffs. And I'm sitting there looking at this guy in his office. And basically, his office looked like an art gallery. And I'm thinking, I have landed the best job in the world. Well, I watched him be a mentor to the world on how to create a building material company like Lowe's. He had this inspiration for these great ideas. He would listen to people under him. He would think about what they did. He didn't, he really included everybody that worked for him, and I think that's why they loved him so much. He created things like the color blue became the color of Lowe's. Well, it didn't take me long to feel like that we owned blue. The company was blue when we were growing so fast, and the facade was blue, everything was blue. So that was pretty interesting. And I met his wife, Betty, and oh my gosh, to a young employee, to see this husband and wife team, she was just a class act. She was beautiful, she was caring, she was loving, and there's a thing about her that you just really like to begin with. And she made you feel like you were part of what we called in the long run the Lowe's family.
I think they have appreciated, their time here and their growing time here in Wilkes. And, when you're in a position of responsibility and service, often you're only as good as the people with whom you work. And I think that the people that Bob and Betty worked with made a really deep impression on them. And it's that giving back attitude and that willingness to try to make the county better day by day.
And I think that community connection is what makes it neat to have a husband and wife team, because you can be an individual, but if you're married and you're working, you work long hours, you work, a wife sacrifices a lot to be in and out and gone. They seemed to always be a team that showed up for everything that they needed to show up for, and the support from Betty was wonderful, and the support from the kids was great.
They had a real desire to help preserve and support the church that they had known and appreciated and enjoyed when they were living here, St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Wilkesboro. And we had a lot of discussions about the chapel especially and the grounds, and involved in trying to make things better for people here in Wilkes County, and especially for those who might need a hand up.
I think this is a family that represents the best of Wilkes. I think they have put their heart in this place. They built a great company with the help of many others. They give back to this county, and I am so happy that I have met them, know them, and that we're honoring them.
Bob Strickland loved the arts. He played the guitar, he loved sing-alongs, he loved to tell jokes. He was actually named the best dancer in his high school class. So it's no accident that he met Betty at a Boy Scout dance. The story goes, he told a buddy, "That's the girl I'm going to marry." That too was a matter of choice and destiny. And so we welcome Robert and Betty Strickland into the Wilkes County Hall of Fame.
That'd be wonderful, thank you.
Gosh, that's so beautiful. Thank you, everyone. My name is Cindy Strickland Graham. I am fortunate to be Betty and Bob's daughter. Just as David McNeil said, this event was so special for the family. It's very special for us, too, because for me and my brother, who cannot be here tonight, we're the two kids and spent our growing up years on the Brushy Mountains, and I know they were some of the happiest family times and family memories that we have. My mother is here, Betty Strickland, and asked me just to say a few words of thanks. First, of course, to the board for selecting them for this great honor. All you have to do is see the other award winners to realize just what a wonderful award and honor and tribute this is, and so we thank you. I wanted to share, I heard a little ditty recently, how do you spell love? And the answer is T-I-M-E. And I can only imagine the amount of time and love that the board spent reading all the letters for the hundreds of nominations. My goodness. Some of the people, those are my second thanks, go to the many folks, some of whom are here tonight, who took the time to support my parents' nomination and to make phone calls and write letters. And we certainly do thank you for that gift of love and time. And finally, I suppose our greatest thanks are due to another gentleman who cannot be with us tonight. Our nominator was a gentleman named Cliff Oxford. We're so fortunate to have his wife Sharon and son Clayton here with us tonight. You've seen them already up here on stage because the idols are Sharon Oxford's parents, nominees last year. But without Cliff nominating my mom and dad for this award, none of this happiness, and it's a great, great joy to us, would have occurred. So we lost Cliff shortly before Thanksgiving, way too soon, way too shocking, and we so wish he could be with us here tonight. But I know that he and my daddy, both of whom were good friends, if not best friends, are watching together. I hope you have good front row seats, Daddy and Cliff. We love you and we thank you, and thank you again, everyone, for this wonderful tribute.
For 43 years, Dr. Frances Tharp instilled the value of hard work, continual learning, and serving one's community into her students. Dr. Tharp served at Mountain View, she served at East Wilkes, but maybe it is her time at North Wilkes, where she taught home economics for nearly 27 years, that made Dr. Tharp beloved and a teacher who could truly be called a mentor.
Frances is a person that is well respected, and when she talks, people listen, but when she talks, it's out of respect and out of knowledge.
She has this peace about her that is just profound to me. It's rare you see her without a smile. You cannot help but feel comforted and at peace yourself when you're in the company of Frances Tharp.
Well, growing up in elementary school, she was actually my principal at Mountain View Elementary. She was there, and she retired while I was still a student at Mountain View. And now, as an educator myself within the Wilkes County school system, you know, I'm still every day or weekly reminded of the legacy that she left. 15 years out of the profession, she still has an impact on the people, but also the contributions that she continues to make. Our school system and individual schools are still benefiting from that.
She is one of those, thankfully, that considers education a calling. Her joy is in doing for others. I think she'll be doing that to the day she dies. I really do. And she looks for how she can do something good for somebody else.
I think Wilkes County means everything to Frances. She, of course, grew up here. She did her formal education, at Appalachia, but she always kept close roots to the county and came back. She always would say, I want to understand the youth. I want to stay involved with the youth and to see what's going on and how can she help them.
When you think of Wilkes County, I think of a place that offered itself for big businesses to grow and for individuals to be successful. So in return, I kind of view my grandmother a lot like that. She has offered herself as a support to those around her. She, again, just wants to see the best in others. But Wilkes County is also the place that offered her the opportunity to get into education. So, that means a lot to her.
She would look back on the places that she has been a teacher and a principal and a central office administrator and a board member and a community member and a church member, and all these people. You, I, anybody is a better person because we know Frances Tharp.
If her time in the classroom was not enough, Dr. Tharp also served on the Board of Education. Her retirement has been only in name. She has continued to make Wilkes County a better place. We welcome to the Wilkes County Hall of Fame, Dr. Frances Tharp.
Well, I wrote an epistle here, but I'm not going to have to say anything. I think it's all been said. I did enjoy my family coming tonight, or I still am enjoying them being here, and some of the students that I taught, some of the people that I've worked with, and I really give my heartfelt thanks to all the people that I worked with that 43 years in the school system. I really didn't want to retire, but it was time to give someone else that position, and so I decided to give it up. Then in less than a year, I was back in. I was there when the middle schools were built, and I really wanted to see what it was like. So I did spend a little time at Central Middle School, and then was sent to school food services. So I guess if I added all that time in, I would have about 43 and a half years. But I really enjoyed every minute of it. I wanted to talk about some of the things that were brought out about working in the Hall of Fame board. The pollen has got my voice, but maybe I can go ahead with it. I think I moved the wrong mic. But anyway, I really enjoyed the 4 years that I worked in the board with the Hall of Fame. I worked on the grants committee, and it was fun to take those applications home during the month of December, and sometimes it got real close to Christmas, but that was as enjoyable in reading Christmas stories that way. So you knew you were going to be giving somebody something and that it would be a great help to them. So that's really all I ever wanted to do, was to be a help to my students, to the community, and to Wilkes County. On the Hall of Fame board, we would meet at 7:30, so you might come in sleepy, but there again, it was an interesting job. So I enjoyed all of that work. I going to have to look at my notes just a little bit to remember some of the things that I wanted to say. And I think I'll end with this. My middle name starts with G, and so giving also begins with G. And when I think of that being a part of my name, then I really want to give to others as much as I can. I have given lots of classroom teachers that write to Donors Choose. I have funded many of those for teachers. I like to give to the church. I like to give to civic activities. And I do give to our local fire department there. And actually, giving is the most important thing that anyone can do in their life. And I think I've heard that through almost every candidate that has spoken tonight. One thing I would like to say to David McNeil, David's grandmother taught me in 6th grade. I remember that well. She was a little short lady, probably now would come up to my shoulder. She always wore little spike heels, David, but she was a wonderful teacher. She inspired me to go right on. I also remember your dad, Gene McNeil. Gene came to Mountain View when I was a little girl. I would remember going out on the baseball field and seeing him there as an umpire. So then, back last November, when I went to buy a different car, I bought it at the McNeil Chevrolet Buick place here. So I feel like I've known David's family, and I'm glad that those pictures showed on the screen because it meant a lot to me to look back and think of when I was in school from 6th grade on. The 43 years that I spent really seemed short, and there was times when I really missed being there. But then there are times when you have to give up what you like in order for someone else to enjoy. But I really would like to beg everybody to support the Hall of Fame. The money there that is given, donations, this dinner tonight that you paid a lot for, but that money goes back to the school system and is very important for teachers and for students to do exactly what they need to do and to meet their goals. So thank you to the person that nominated me, and thank you for the 3 that spoke for me. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Wilkes County, for all opportunities that are given to teachers and students. And I encourage you to go ahead and give the Hall of Fame. Let's be back here next year. Thank you so much.
Can anybody leave here tonight and say they haven't been inspired? Wow. Let us join together and congratulate the Wilkes County Hall of Fame class of 2022. At this time, we'd like to invite Shanna Williams, the incoming president of the Hall of Fame, and Tammy Love, our vice president, to the stage for a special announcement. And as they come forward, let us once again thank Wilkes Communications for sponsoring tonight's event and for each one of you being a part of tonight's event. Shanna, Tammy.
Evan, on behalf of the Wilkes County Hall of Fame Board, we would like to recognize you and your time as our president for the last 3 years by honoring you with this plaque. We really appreciate all that you've done for us, and thank you so much for your service. Larry, if you would step back up here, please.
Tonight, our board wants to establish a new award. It will be called the Legacy Award. And we feel like there are people, individuals who make such an impact, a statement, much like our inductees, but no matter where they are, whether during their youthful years, their time in Wilkes County, wherever they are, they make a difference. They're dedicated, excellence, all the characteristics of someone who paves the way for success, for change. They have a passion, you feel their energy. They're ambassadors. They're ambassadors of life, of spirit. But the most of all, they impact everyone around them. They're committed to excellence. And tonight, we are establishing our first recipient of the Legacy Award, to Larry Stone, Jr. Larry Stone has been the MC for the Wilkes County Hall of Fame Gala since its inception in 2014. He also donates his time as a moderator for the James Cook Leadership Breakfast. His involvement far exceeds the few hours you see him up here on this stage. Larry consults with board members throughout the year, sharing his insight and expertise on how to organize these two events, as well as countless hours as he puts into reviewing for the recordings of the interviews, learning about the nominees, and offering critique to improve on each year's experience. For these many reasons and many more, we would like to recognize Larry Stone with this first Legacy Award. Congratulations, Larry.
Wow. So, as we close tonight, first of all, it was said on several occasions, you have the chance to support the Hall of Fame. We'll give a shameless plug to that card that's on your table, and please consider a donation. Please consider using the QR code to donate right now. But there's another way that you can support the Hall of Fame. There are so many stories of fabulous people who have contributed to this county. Please consider making a nomination when we get to that time of the year, later in 2022. There are people whose stories haven't been told. There are people's stories, honestly, that have been forgotten, but they have made such a contribution to this county. And we want to make sure that we honor them and give them the chance to inspire the students of the future. Make sure you take your program with you for the chance to read more about the James Cook Leadership Breakfast that happens in the fall. That is an inspiring event beyond anything that we've done here tonight. You can also find out more information about the grants that we've talked about tonight. Most of all, thank you for being here and supporting education in Wilkes County and for honoring our inductees. Drive safely and good night.